Morning, Falcons. Today is Wednesday, June 10th. Thanks so much for joining us for online advisory. Today, we're going to be learning about what we can say and do to be upstanders. And I'm super excited to work with you guys on this. If you haven't already yet, I really encourage that you go back to Monday's advisory and Tuesday's advisory. On Monday, we talk about how comfortable are we talking about race and racism. And on Tuesday, Ms. Coe does a really nice job of kind of going through some definitions of those terms with you. So make sure you rewind a little bit if needed. And then also a reminder, students and families, we'd love to have you take this survey about how comfortable you are talking about race and racism. It's anonymous and it will just help us get better at our work. So that's linked again below. And thank you to those of you who have already taken it. Shout out today, we have two 8th grade students, Addie and Bailey, who organized an opportunity for students to connect and do a peaceful protest online. And I just heard from one of your teachers that it was a pretty powerful experience. So thank you for putting yourselves out there and taking on that challenge. Okay, speaking of challenge, our greeting this morning is our physical challenge greeting. I know I definitely need to do this. I've been sitting down way too much the last 2 days working. So I'm going to make sure that when I'm done filming advisory, I get up, I go for a quick walk, maybe do some stretching before I go about my day. Students, families, teachers, I really encourage you to do the same. Get in some type of movement and then make sure that you reach out to 3 people, tell them hello, share your endorphins with them electronically or talk to someone that you're with. So make sure, go do that. Come on back when you're ready. Okay, our sharing today. So turn and talk with someone you're with, text someone, you can comment below. How comfortable are you standing up for others? Okay, I want you to think about what are situations in which it's really easy for you to stand up for others? What are situations in which maybe that's a little bit harder? Okay, so how comfortable are you standing up for others? And maybe you want to share an example with us as well. So take the time to share. Super important that you talk about this. And then also make sure that you take the time to listen and ask someone else so that you can learn from their perspective. Okay, our activity today is about becoming an upstander. So I'm going to run you through a few more definitions that are super important to help us better understand what's happening in our world right now and really what's been happening in our world for a very, very long time. But right now, the news just is paying a lot more attention to it. So we have a choice in our lives if we see something, hear something, or feel that something wrong, something racist is happening. And if we feel that that's directed at ourselves or that it's directed at another person, whether that person is someone we know and love or if that person is a stranger, we have a choice. And one choice is to be a bystander. A bystander is someone who watches something happen or hears something happen. They get that feeling that something wrong is happening, but they choose not to respond. Okay. Our other choice is to be an upstander. And an upstander is someone who stands up for what is right. They use their voice, even when it's uncomfortable and hard. And sometimes it's dangerous to be an upstander. So it's important to remember that we can become upstanders in our communities, in our world, by practicing that skill. If you've been watching these advisory videos for the last few months, you know that we are all about practicing skills. So we're practicing recognizing our thoughts, recognizing our emotions. We're practicing greeting other people. We're practicing making positive connections with our family, with our friends. So being an upstander also is going to take some practice. Okay. And you can do this by talking with people you trust, practicing what you're going to say, really thinking in advance about what you might say and do to stop and interrupt something that's wrong that you see. And especially this week, thinking about stopping and interrupting something that you see that's racist. So when you're speaking up against racism, you do need to consider your safety. And you also want to consider like avoiding labeling people. Okay. And you can always talk to an adult that you trust for help with this. But today we thought we'd give you a few examples of what you might say. Okay, so if you hear something or see something that you feel is hurtful to another person, is racist to another person, you might want to try on like some of these lines. Some of them are statements, some of them are questions. I've also pasted them below. So you might say something like, that offends me, or I don't think that's very funny. You might try saying something like, I'm really surprised to hear you say that. Or something else, like you might try saying, using that word or that language, like does not make other people feel good, does not make other people feel safe. Okay. It's important to have those statements kind of ready to go. It can help you. And then also you might want to ask questions in these situations. So if you hear someone say something, you're like, oh, that like sounds hurtful or wrong, it can be really effective to genuinely ask the person questions like this. Did you mean to say something hurtful when you said that? What did you mean by that? Why would you say something like that? And what was the point you were trying to make with that statement? Okay, so you'll notice when I'm practicing being an upstander, I've got a lot of lines that I go to that help me do this. Friends, family, at work, with strangers. So I'd encourage you to think about your upstander lines as well and practice them. And remember, you can always talk to friends, adults that you trust for help with this. Be patient with yourself, right? If you miss an opportunity to be an upstander, you can always like revisit it later. You can try again next time, but push yourself, stretch yourself a little bit with this. It's important, and believe that you can make a difference in our world because you can and you already are. Okay, Falcons, we love you. We miss you. Remember, be respectful, be responsible, show pride. Good luck being an upstander. We know you can do it. And we'll see you back here for online advisory tomorrow.